Moving on to council reports. Report by Councilmember Ditbull.
Let's see, we had a couple of meetings with the summer break, not too many, but we did have the LAFCO meeting. And during that meeting, it was a short meeting, but we did go ahead and appoint interim executive director, Doug Libby, who is going to be taking that position in the meantime while we're reviewing applications and so forth to go ahead and get the permanent executive director in position. The other meeting was the transit meeting, and there was a performance audit. What did stand out from that meeting was a performance audit was completed. And the focus on the audit was that we increase ridership, which we knew from before, but this time focusing more on the marketing, so different ways, and they'll be looking at that. Also, in addition to that, to modernize the dispatching to be more effective and provide better customer service. That might also help with the ridership. Let's see, and just a side note, we had the community forum last Wednesday. It was another great community forum, lots of information. This one was on internet safety, cyberbullying, sexting, and it was 2 hours of just packed information from our FBI agent. And we will plan for another one in about 3 months or so. So hope to see more of you out there. And I think that's about it for me.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Councilmember Dukes.
Just have one item to report, and that was last week attended the reception for the new 9th Reconnaissance Wing Commander, Colonel Larry Broadwell, and it was refreshing to be there with other community leaders and to welcome him and his family to our community. And that's all I had to report.
Thank you. And moving on to Councilmember Gill.
Yeah, no real committee meetings. It'll be next week for the Sutter Beach Flood Control Agency, as well as the Finance Committee meeting. Just some community functions, the new colonel of the base. Also had a function in Sacramento for the elected Asian Island Pacific that we were there, so representing the city of Yuba City, as well as Darrell Steinberg and Assemblyman Cooper and a few of the other ones. So a lot of hot air. That's all.
Moving on to thank you very much for the, short timers get an opportunity to do all this.
I was just not that I was counting my meetings since I'm not running again. I think I've got 3 or 4 more meetings, but I'm working every day as all the way to the end. So I'm not, by all means, it is not on cruise control.
I do appreciate it. And moving on to report from Vice Mayor Cleveland.
Thank you very much. I was also at the Yuba Center Transit Authority meeting, and Councilwoman Ditbull did a fantastic synopsis of what occurred, so I will not add to that, except they're doing a great job in our transit group. I was also attended the BO new commander event to welcome them. Sounds like he's going to be a great dynamic leader out there. Also, just want to remind everybody that 9/11 is coming up, and there are many anniversary remembrances this time. I think it's the 15th, and so there's a lot of youth that are becoming aware of what really goes on in life, that it's history to them now. They weren't alive when it happened, so they don't know what it was. Traumatic thing for our nation it was, and the people. So we need to make sure that as many youth that we can get to attend and actually learn what that meant to the core of our nation, and help them to understand why we're so passionate about protecting our nation from that ever happening again. So there's a couple of them in town, one at Yuba City High School, there's one at one of the churches out here, Calvary Christian Center. There's other little events that are going on in remembrance. So please try to attend. I know our many different staff members will be trying to make them, police, fire, and different ones are going to try to make it to them. Thank you. That's it.
Also was able to attend the dinner for our
Base commander.
he's our base commander, but he's more
wing.
than that.
Yeah, he is.
He's also the wing commander. This gentleman, Colonel Broadwell, and his wife come to our community. They'll be staying for 2 years, and he is quite an asset to our community. He and his wife are going to be a great asset to our community. Found him to be very personable, very approachable, an individual who has a great amount of history with the United States Air Force, has rose to the level that he is at through a command structure that we have visited out at Langley. Was the executive officer to a 4-star general, General Hostage, who members of this council have met with in the past, and he was a pilot of an F-22, one of the fastest fighter aircraft in the world. And this guy, this individual, this leader is going to take Beale to that next level. And we are very proud of the accomplishments of Beale Air Force Base, what they mean to our community, and certainly the interaction of the Beale personnel in our community. Also attended a SACOG meeting down in Sacramento. That's the Sacramento Area Council of Government, where I attended the government relations meeting, and basically moving some appropriations. We found a little extra money for Sutter County and Yuba City through a process, and also for Sacramento County. They got a bigger chunk than we got, but I wasn't going to complain about the few dollars that we did get in return from an audit. Also looking at just better ways to improve service to our communities through an auditing process, and also being able to formalize contracts in a more streamlined process with SACOG. So was able to do that. That was just like a week ago, and then had to turn right around and shoot back up for other meetings up here. But that was the Regional Waste Management Authority, where we are undergoing talks and meeting with the public on the upcoming contract changes in 2019 with Recology, if there are going to be any changes, or what the public truly wants to see from the different agencies. So all of that information is being now directed back to the individual agencies, because each agency makes the decision on their own regarding this. The RWMA, or Regional Waste Management Authority, simply convenes to be able to give just general direction to that body as it moves forward. That's all I have in meetings. Did you have something to add?
Just before we close, if when the students come up here, we're going to have pins for them. So they're being brought in. So don't run away. Stop by and get your signature and a pin.
So the pin master over here will be handing out pins. That's one way of knowing that that you were here. But we will adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of those nearly 3,000 civilians, the military and civilians at the Pentagon, certainly the Shanksville crash, and also in New York City. The 3,000 citizens that lost their lives there, the numerous and hundreds of firemen and the police officers that all lost their lives, will adjourn in their memory.